I think this has started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to PreKirk and WeKirk with First Presbyterian Church, Smithfield, North Carolina. It's Sunday, May 16th. I'm glad to be with you today. As a reminder, our children's programming is going to remain online at 10 o'clock live every morning, and by packets you'll be getting in the mail through, like you have been, from the magnificent Miss Debbie Jacobs. And probably will continue this way through the summer, and we are starting to have conversations about getting back in person, possibly around the time school starts. So we look forward to whenever that can happen, and we look forward to spending the summer with you live on Facebook here, and glad to be with you this morning, because the more we get together, the more we get together, the happier we'll be. 'Cause my friends are your friends and your friends are my friends. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. With my friends Solon and Sydney and Lillian and Marley and Maggie and Daisy and Joshua and Alex and Avery and Anna and Caroline and Bella and Riley and Jasper and Kenny and Brooks and Gabby and Brantley and Sylvan and Eleanor and Wyatt and Ruth and Emily and Eason and Will and Buckley and Tinsley and Daniel and Jason and Connor and anybody else who's out there. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. See, no matter how many times I've sung that in the last year, I still get my notes all funny sometimes. I'm happy to sing with you. And as another reminder, our church is meeting in person at 11 o'clock. So if you wish to join them, feel free to show up between 10:30 and 11. Ho, 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 Hosanna, ha, 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 hallelujah, he, save me, I got the joy of the Lord. Ho, 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 Hosanna, ha, 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 hallelujah, he, save me, I got the joy of the Lord. I really like that one. We're going to keep singing that when we can get back in person. Let's clap. I will enter his gates with thanksgiving in my heart. I will enter his courts with praise. I will say, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. He has made me glad. He has made me glad. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. He has made me glad. He has made me glad. I will rejoice, for he has made me glad. You know, one song we haven't sung in a while, All God's Critters. That's been our favorite for a while. Let's sing that one this morning. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Listen to the bass, it's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks and the hippopotamus moans and groans with the big to-do, and the old cow just goes moo. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. The dog and the cat, they take up the middle, while the honeybee hums and the cricket fiddles. The donkey brays and the pony neighs and the old coyote howls. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire, and some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Listen to the top where the little birds sing all the melodies, and the high notes ring, and the hoot owl hollers over everything, and the jaybird disagrees. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or paws or anything they got now. Did you know that song is about a lot of things? It's fun to sing the animals and make the sounds, but it's about a lot of things. We all have a place in the choir. That means in God's family, there's a place for all of us, and not just when we sing, not just our voices, but anything we do, you have a purpose and you have a place in God's family. Just like all of the singers have a place in a choir. They may sing different parts or they may sing at different times, or maybe they play the music that the other people sing along to, but everybody does a job. Everybody has a part. That song's really about how all of us have a part in God's family. No matter what we can do, what we can't do, what we're good at, what we're not good at, how big or small we are, how young or old we are, we all have a part of God's family. We all do something special. We all do something that only we can do. Maybe other people can do it too, but we all do it together. We all have a part. It's all important. So think about that. It's a fun song to sing. It's fun to sing the animal sounds and do all of the clapping and everything. But remember, it's really about you have a part of God's a part of God's family, just like all of the singers have a part in a choir. Pretty cool. We're going to read more stories today. Remember, since Easter, we've backed up our timeline. We hit rewind, and we've been reading stories about Jesus when he was alive on earth, before he died on the cross. We're reading stories about things he said to people, and reading stories that he told to other people, and reading stories about amazing things he did to help others and heal others and teach others. Today, we're reading a story that I bet you've heard before. You probably may not even have known it was a Bible story. It's called the Good Samaritan. You've heard it before. We've read it before. And you hear it a lot in church. You'll hear people talk about it in church the whole time. And even if they're talking about something else, sometimes they'll also talk about this story. So I bet you've heard it before. My book ready. The Good Samaritan. A clever man who thought he knew all the rules for living God's way asked Jesus a question. So right now Jesus is talking to a group of people, and somebody who thought they were smart came and asked Jesus a question. He wanted to see if he could trick Jesus into giving a wrong answer. I guess, have you ever felt that way? Have you ever listened to somebody so smart, like maybe your teacher or somebody, or your mom or dad or somebody that you thought was smart? Have you ever tried to ask them a question to see if they could answer it, to try to trick them, to see if you could ask something they didn't know the answer to? Well, that's what this guy was doing. He was trying to find if Jesus knew the answer to all of the questions he could think of. So he was talking to Jesus. And he said, "Teacher, what must I do to live forever with God?" So what do you think Jesus said? Let's see. Instead of answering the question with an answer, Jesus asked a question back, and he asked, "What do the commandments say?" The man answered, "The commandments say you should love God with everything you have, and you should love your neighbor as much as you love yourself." Jesus replied, "That is the right answer. Live like this, and you'll live with God forever." "So Jesus," the man continued, "who is my neighbor?" Jesus answered the question by telling a story. Here's the story. A man was traveling down a scary and rocky road by himself. Sounds kind of scary. All of a sudden, a group of men jumped out. They stole his money and they hurt him, leaving him by the side of the road. He moaned and groaned in pain, and he couldn't get up. So he was walking along by himself, and a group of men came over, jumped him, surprised him, took his money, and hurt him. And he was hurt, and he was lying on the ground, and he couldn't move. So there he is. He's hurt. So he's laying there on the ground. He's by himself now. They left him there, hurt. A little while later, a priest was going down the road. He saw the hurt man and passed by him on the opposite side of the road. So the guy's lying there hurt. He can't get up by himself. I think it's pretty obvious he needs help. And a priest, somebody who worked for a church, for a temple, came by. And do you think he helped him? He didn't. He walked by on the other side. Later, another man came along and passed on the other side of the road too. So that was a second person who came by, walked away, and didn't help him. But then a Samaritan came along and saw the man was hurt, and he stopped to help him. A tear ran down the Samaritan's cheek as he bent down to help the hurt man. He put bandages on the man's cuts. The Samaritan huffed and puffed as he tried to lift the man onto his donkey. So 2 people walked by this man who was hurt and didn't do anything. They pretended he wasn't even there. And then a Samaritan came by, and he was the one who was so overwhelmed. He saw this man was hurt, and he stopped to help. Now, there's something that you may not realize about this. Grown-ups might, or someone who's heard the story before might know this, but a Samaritan was from a different country than where Jesus was from. And Samaritans, because they were from a different country, the people where Jesus lived did not like Samaritans. They didn't think very nice things about Samaritans. They thought they were weird. They thought they didn't belong in their country. So Samaritans weren't treated very nicely by the people where Jesus lived. And so of all the people to walk by, the priests didn't help him. The other person didn't help him. But a Samaritan, a stranger who didn't even live there, was traveling by. And he, of all people, was the one to stop and help. He took the man to the nearest inn and put him in a room. He took care of him for the rest of that day. The next day, the Samaritan had to leave for a few days. He paid the innkeeper to take care of the hurt man. The Samaritan promised to return and pay the innkeeper any more money that was needed to care for the man. He wanted the hurt man to get better. So the Samaritan had things to do too. He couldn't stay there forever, but he made sure the man was okay. He took him to an inn, which is a house, like a hotel where you can stay when you're traveling. And he paid the man whose inn that was, whose house that was, to take care of him while he couldn't. And he even said, if you need more, I'll come back and pay you later. So even though the Samaritan couldn't stay, he made sure the man was okay and taking care of somebody who could help him. After Jesus finished the story, he asked the clever man, which of the 3 men was a neighbor to the man who was hurt? So there was the priest, there was the other guy that walked by, and then there was the Samaritan who didn't even live there. The man replied, the one who stopped to help him is his neighbor. Jesus told him, God wants us to help everyone. People of every size, shape, and color, and from every country are important to God. Now, go and be like the Samaritan and help everyone who needs help. Some people think that's an easy story to learn from. That the one who helps is the helper. The one who helps is the neighbor. But like I said, there's a lot more to that story. So if you're older and if you have more questions, or parents or whoever's watching with a kiddo, if you have more to say or more you want to read, please take this opportunity to learn more about the story with the resources you may have online or at your house. One thing to remember with the story, it's easy to be like the man in the story. Oh yeah, that's no problem. The neighbor is the man who helped. Even if you didn't expect him to be the neighbor, even though he didn't live there, he was the one who was a neighbor because he helped. He cared. He took care of him. Another thing I want you to think about is in your life and in my life, how do I say this? At different times, we are like all of the people in the story. Sometimes you are going to be the Samaritan. You're going to be the one who stops, who helps, who cares. Sometimes you're going to be the one who's hurt. You're going to be the one that needs help. Me too. And sometimes, even though we don't like to think about it, we are going to be the ones who walked away and didn't help. There's a lot to learn from this story. The important thing is to think about all of those people in the story. The one who helped and how hard that was, the one who was hurt and how bad that felt, and the ones who didn't help. There's something we can learn from all of the characters in the story because we're human. And there's going to be so many times in life that you're going to be like those characters, that you're going to be the one who needs help, that you're going to be the one who helps, and times you're going to be the one that doesn't help. So there's a lot to learn. So if you're older, think about that this week. Think about things that happened to you or have happened to you before, and when you were the helper, or when you needed help, or when you were the one who didn't help. Don't get bogged down by those feelings, but think about them. Think about your questions. Think about how it felt. That's how you'll learn from it, and that's how we'll learn from this story. So I hope you have a good week, but I hope you think about that. And kiddos, if you're younger, think about times that you are a helper. Think about times that you need help. Think about times you don't want to help, because that happens to everybody. Maybe you'll experience one of those very soon this week. Or maybe this week you'll experience all three. Could happen. All right, so Miss Debbie sent some amazing crafts to you. For the littler kids, you got a packet stapled together that looks like this. It's got a story you can cut out and color on the front to make a little book. And there's other activities in the back with pictures and finding pictures. I think Miss Debbie found a lot of cool stuff for this story because you guys got a lot of great activities in this packet. Same for the bigger kids. Your cover starts with a, what are these called? This is not a word search. A crossword puzzle. You've got a crossword puzzle on the front and lots of other activities in the back. And on top of all that, you have a craft that came in a bag like this week. Here's mine. It's still in the bag. We haven't done ours yet. But it is a hanger that helps you think about the story. You put the pictures of the story together to make a picture. So hope you enjoy those this week. I think Miss Debbie enjoyed putting that together for us. I would have. That looks like a lot of fun. And we will see you again next week. Have a great week. Let me see if I have some help singers who want to come sing with me this morning. Do I have anybody who wants to help me sing? I think I have grumpy singers. Okay, sit on this side. Ricky, come all the way up. You gotta come sit all the way over. Right here. All the way. A little closer. All right. Do you guys want to sing one song before we say goodbye?
I don't want to say goodbye.
You just want to sing a goodbye song?
Yeah.
Do you have a song you'd like to sing? Scooch over. See, you're not even on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's sing Go Now in Peace, okay?
I only wanted to do goodbye.
Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the love of God surround you everywhere. Everywhere you may go. I said goodbye. I'll see you later. I said goodbye. I'll see you later. I said goodbye and get down and get down and get down. I said goodbye. I'll see you later, alligator, and freeze. High five. High five. High five. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.